We have a rematch of last year's SEC championship game, and this year it could serve as an SEC championship elimination game. Texas heads to Athens, sitting at 7-2, 4-1 in conference play. Georgia at 8-1, 6-1 in conference play. A game that has massive implications in the SEC standings, massive implications in the college football playoff race, and we're here to break it down in deep detail and share our official prediction. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share the videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, which is home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. We want you to take advantage of those. We want you to sign up today. We want you to become a member of our GE Nation. So, this is going to be a fun one, guys. Saturday night in Athens. Talk about a fantastic Saturday, especially in the SEC. You have your afternoon appetizer of Alabama, Oklahoma with massive playoff implications, and then follow that right up with Texas and Georgia. Again, two games with playoff implications, but two games that will greatly shape who maybe ends up being in the SEC championship here in just a few weeks. Last year, Georgia got the better of Texas not once, but twice. The Bulldogs going on the road to Austin, winning by 15 points, and then winning a much closer, maybe more exciting game in the SEC championship, winning that one 22-19 behind the late game heroics of Gunnar Stockton, who came in for an injured Carson Beck and willed the Bulldogs to victory. Obviously, these two teams look a little bit different right now. The stakes are a little bit different. Texas certainly in a bit of an interesting spot because they're still alive for an SEC championship berth. But a loss here probably ends those hopes and ends their playoff hopes as well, as it would drop the Longhorns to 3 losses, 7-3, probably going to eliminate them from playoff contention. Georgia, a loss here, doesn't eliminate them from playoff contention, might eliminate them from SEC title contention, but they would certainly have to sweat it out in these on Selection Sunday, and that's even if they can get past Georgia Tech in the season finale. So this game big for both these teams. Let's start on offense. Texas, maybe they're finally waking up. The Longhorns have won 4 straight games after losing on the road to Florida. And granted, 3 of those 4 wins they have been by 1 possession, so they're winning. They're winning close, but wins are wins are wins. The last 2 games, the offense has thrived. 45 points against Mississippi State, 34 points against Vanderbilt, 428 yards in each of those games. Interesting, it's the exact same number, but 428 yards in each of those games. Arch Manning finally waking up, doing what we thought he'd do all year long. He's thrown for over 300 yards in each of his last 2 games against the Bulldogs and the Commodores. 6 touchdowns and 1 interception in that span as well. His go-to guy has been Ryan Wingo in the last 2 games. 7 receptions for 173 yards and a touchdown. It's really, really impressive. This is the Texas offense that, again, we thought we were going to see from week 1 against Ohio State to now. And they struggled for so long, but they finally woke up. And I think, honestly, stressful, sure. It has been stressful, but like getting down by 17 against Mississippi State and rallying to win that game, it was the wake-up call that Texas needed. They woke up, they started scoring, they saved their season, then they get a big, top 10 win at home against Vanderbilt. That gave them more momentum. Maybe they are able to come on the road to Athens and put on a solid display. The problem for Texas is they're fairly one-dimensional. Arch Manning, I still think is inconsistent. 2 great games last 2 weeks. Doesn't mean that he's a completely different quarterback. The run game's been non-existent, right? They're 96th in the nation, only averaging 135 rushing yards per game. They're going to need a little bit more than that, I think, if they want to come on the road and beat Georgia. Georgia, meanwhile, Gunnar Stockton, we mentioned him. He came in late, or pretty much almost the whole second half, to beat Texas in the SEC championship game, and now he's been phenomenal as the full-time starter down in Athens. Over 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and has shown the wheels, over 300 yards and 7 rushing touchdowns on the year. So definitely going to be a lot different than what we saw down in Atlanta last year. Instead of being, fresh leg, kind of young, scared, this is a almost seasoned veteran, it feels like, 9 games into the season for the Bulldogs. This is a balanced offense. It's one that's averaging nearly 240 passing yards per game, nearly averaging 200 rushing yards per game, led by Nate Frazier, who's fresh off a 12-carry, 181-yard day against Mississippi State. That's 15.1 yards per carry that he had against the Bulldogs last week. And I really praise Kirby Smart and this offense for kind of getting back to their roots, right? You've got a mobile quarterback, which is fantastic because defenses have to account for that. They've got to respect that. The offensive line is back to playing bully ball. 11 sacks. That's all they've given up. and the running game is finding themselves, right? 303 rushing yards against Mississippi State, 139 versus Florida, 221 versus Ole Miss. This running game is there. It's getting better and stronger, and I do credit Gunnar Stockton for allowing that to happen because, again, having that mobile quarterback just completely changed the dynamic of the offense. But this is a Georgia team that, for years and years and years, you vision them as like a run-heavy team, a run-first team with a strong offensive line. It didn't feel like they were having that early on in the year, maybe not as much last year. They're back to it now, but they've also got a quarterback that can absolutely sling it. So this is going to be a tough offense to stop, and it's one that I think is getting better with each passing week, which leads us to the question, can Texas defensively stop that? What can Texas do defensively on the road to slow down that balance? And I'll tell you, having the second-ranked rushing defense in the entire country probably will go a long way on Saturday night. The Longhorns are only giving up 78.2 rushing yards per game. That is it. They've allowed over 100 rushing yards 2 times this year. Twice. They allowed 137 to Kentucky, that very close overtime win against Kentucky, and then 159 rushing yards to Florida. That's it. Every other game, they've held their opponent to under 100 rushing yards, which is very, very impressive. And they've done decent against mobile quarterbacks, right? They did a decent job containing Diego Pavia in the run against Vanderbilt. Did a very great job at just annihilating John Mateer, fresh off that thumb injury, when they played Oklahoma. They did a great job just overall containing Ohio State back in week 1. And again, these two teams, have including Ohio State, have looked so much different and are in a much different spot than where they were back in the first game of the season. But still, credit to this Texas defense, because I think without them, they might not be 7-2 right now, considering how bad their offense has been. The issue for Texas defensively is not the running defense, which I think will travel well and will do their job. It's a secondary. It can be exploited. 365 passing yards to Vanderbilt, 382 passing yards to Mississippi State, 258 to Kentucky, 298 to Florida. They are 95th in the nation in stopping the pass, giving up 235.8 passing yards per game. That's not good, considering how well Gunnar Stockton has played, considering that Georgia has 7 players that have at least 100 reception yards, and considering that Texas has not done a phenomenal job of creating takeaways. They only have 9 interceptions on the year, only 1 interception in their last 3 games. And keep in mind, 3 of their 9, so a third of their interceptions, came in one singular game against a banged-up John Mateer that I don't think should have even played in the Red River game. Just my personal take. That's not to discredit what Texas did. Texas was phenomenal in that game. But again, 3 of their 9 came in one singular game. They're not doing a great job in the secondary at stopping the pass. They're not doing a great job of forcing turnovers. So Texas has got to find a way to make sure their rushing defense continues to play like it has all year long, continue to bottle it up, force Gunnar Stockton to win this game through the air, and hope that your secondary can create a turnover or two to keep yourself in this game, especially in such a hostile road environment, which, as we know, is one of the most difficult places to play in the entire country. Georgia, 20th in the nation in total defense, 310.8 yards per game. That's all they're giving up. Giving up just 100.2 rushing yards per game. To me, that number it doesn't matter because Texas can't run anyway. So yeah, I'm not saying that don't try to stop the run, but I don't envision Texas coming into Athens and putting up $150 on the ground. I just don't see that happening, right? So you've got a very strong rushing defense in Georgia that's probably going to continue to do their job against a Texas rushing defense, rushing offense that's practically been non-existent. The key for them is to just attack Arch Manning. I know he's had 2 good weeks lately, rallied them against Mississippi State, which part of that was defense, part of that was special teams, but a lot of that contributed to Arch as well, over 300 yards. I know he had a great game against Vanderbilt, but get after it. I'm still not sold on him, man. I'm just not. 2 good games doesn't turn your whole season around. He's now coming into a night game between the hedges, which to me is arguably the toughest environment he'll face or has faced all year long. Yes, we know they played at Ohio State. Yes, they played in the swamp. Those are the only 2 they can maybe compare. Mississippi State does not compare. Kentucky does not compare. Ohio State, Florida, and Athens are probably the toughest places that Arch Manning has played. I would argue a night game in Athens is tougher than the previous 2. So that's what Georgia's got to do, is find a way to make this Texas offense one-dimensional, shut down the run, probably not going to be that hard, and just really get after Arch Manning and make him uncomfortable. The Bulldogs haven't done a great job at doing that against opposing quarterbacks. They've only have 11 sacks on the year, only 4 interceptions on the year. So they haven't been that great, but I expect Kirby Smart to dial up a lot of pressure. The only other question is whether Georgia can get home on that or not. but dial up a lot of pressure, send a bunch of different looks at Arch Manning. That, plus the crowd, I think is bound to confuse him quite a bit, bound to rattle him quite a bit, is going to ultimately lead to a Georgia victory. Georgia, I do believe, wins this game. At home, at night, strong defense, strong offense, running game that's getting better and better and better by the week, and a Texas team that, again, I'm just not sold on. They're getting hot at the right time. They're playing better football at the right time. They've won 4 straight games, not necessarily all convincingly, but they have won 4 straight games. But I think their winning streak comes to an end Saturday night in Athens. And with it, I believe their college football playoff hopes come to an end Saturday night in Athens. The preseason number 1 team will be eliminated from the playoff Saturday night. As Georgia rolls, I think they win this game by at least a touchdown. Georgia wins this game 9-1, 7-1 in conference play for the Bulldogs. Texas takes their 3rd loss, eliminated from SEC title contention, eliminated from the college football playoff. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks. Again, some of the best picks in the entire country for one low price. The link for that down in the description below. Take it out, become a member of our GE Nation. Be with us from now all the way into next year. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.